Hey there, Jason from Simply Swider here. If your LG washer is completely dead, no lights, no sounds, absolutely nothing, I've got great news for you. In over 90% of cases, these dead washers aren't actually broken beyond repair. We're going to walk through 5 proven troubleshooting steps that'll save you hundreds in repair costs. Before we get started, if you run into any questions, jump into our Facebook group. Links in the description. We've got thousands of people helping each other fix their appliances, and I pop in there daily to help out. So, the number one
Unplug
culprit,
the
and
washer
this is
from the
about
power outlet
40% of
or
the dead
turn the
washer
circuit
calls I
breaker
get,
to the unit
is
off.
either the machine's not
With the
getting proper
power
power
disabled,
or the
press
software
and
logic
hold
has
the
just
start/pause
completely locked
button.
up. Here's the thing about modern washers, they're basically computers that wash clothes, and sometimes computers need a hard reboot. I had this customer last month call me in a panic because her LG just died mid cycle. Turned out her GFCI outlet had tripped, but it wasn't obvious because other stuff was still working on different circuits. Here's what you gotta do. Grab something that draws real power, like a hairdryer or a space heater, and plug it into that same outlet. If it runs strong, your outlet's fine. If it's weak or doesn't work, there's your problem. Now for the hard reset procedure. First, unplug the washer from the wall and wait 30 seconds. Press and hold the power button for 5 seconds, then press and hold the play pause button for another 5 seconds. This discharges any stored electrical charge and clears the system memory. Wait another 30 seconds, plug it back in, and try powering up. This entire process takes about 2 minutes but fixes roughly 40% of dead washer issues. Don't ask me how I know that, but I've seen this fix machines that seem totally fried. Now, if you've got good power and the reset didn't work, we're looking at the brain of the operation, the main control board. This accounts for about 35% of the truly dead washers I see. Here's what to look for. Every LG washer control board has a small red LED light that acts as a proof of life indicator. Here's how to check it in 3 simple steps. First, unplug your washer and remove
Slide
three
the
screws
assembly
from the
tabs
back
out of
of
the
the top
slots in the
panel.
rear cabinet
Second, slide the
and
top
lift
panel
the assembly
toward the
out.
back and lift it off. Third, plug the washer back in and immediately look for a tiny red light on the main circuit board. It should glow within 2 seconds. It's often covered in yellow or clear silicone, but you should see it glowing. No light means the board's toast. But here's where people mess up big time. They replace this expensive board without figuring out why it died. I remember this guy who went through 3 control boards in 2 weeks because he never checked if his door latch was shorted out. Every time he'd install a new board, the shorted latch would fry it instantly. Always test your door latch and pump resistance before you power up a new board. Trust me on this one. All right, so maybe the main board's got that red light on, but pressing the power button does absolutely nothing. This is about 20% of the cases, and it's usually the front panel or specifically that power button. Here's what happens on these newer LG models. They use capacitive touch sensors, basically springs behind the plastic buttons that detect when you touch them. Over time, that plastic deforms slightly or the spring compresses, creating a tiny air gap. The sensor can't detect your finger anymore. Here's a free fix that sounds crazy but works about 60% of the time, the aluminum foil trick. Cut a piece of regular kitchen foil about the size of a dime, roughly half an inch square. Unplug your washer first for safety. Gently press the power button area and slip the foil piece behind the button, pressing it flat against the back surface. The foil bridges the tiny gap that's preventing the touch sensor from working. Plug back in and test. This 30-second fix can save you $150 on a new interface board. I learned this one from an old-timer tech, and I've probably saved customers hundreds of dollars with a piece of Reynolds wrap. If that doesn't work, then you're looking at replacing the user interface board, but try the foil trick first. Now, this one's less common, but when it happens, it'll fool you into thinking the whole machine's dead. The noise filter is where your power cord connects inside the machine. It's got a fuse inside that can blow during power surges. What happens is 120 volts goes in, but 0 volts comes out, so nothing downstream gets power. You'll need a multimeter to check this. Measure the voltage going into the filter and the voltage coming out. If there's a difference, the filter's blown its internal fuse. I had this lady whose washer died during a thunderstorm, and everyone told her the control board was fried. Turned out to be a $30 noise filter that had sacrificed itself to protect the expensive stuff. Way cheaper fix than what she was expecting. Here's a sneaky one that can masquerade as a dead washer, a shorted door latch. Usually, this shows up as the machine powering on but not starting the cycle, but sometimes a badly shorted latch can actually blow the main control board's fuse, making the whole thing appear dead. The door latch has solenoids in it that can short out, and when they do, they send a surge back to the control board. This is part of that suicide short pattern I mentioned earlier. If you've already replaced a control board and it died again quickly, check that door latch resistance to ground. A good latch should show some resistance. If it shows 0 ohms to ground, that's your board killer right there. The noise filter, you're looking at somewhere between 30 and 70 bucks depending on your model. This is the easiest fix if that's what's wrong, and honestly, if your washer's got a blown noise filter, you're lucky. It did its job protecting the expensive stuff downstream. Pretty straightforward replacement. Just match up the wire colors and you're good to go. Way cheaper than calling someone like me out. Now, the main control board, this is where it gets expensive. You're looking at anywhere from $150 to $300 for the part alone. Here's the thing about these boards. LG covers them in this thick silicone potting compound to waterproof them, makes them nearly impossible to repair at the component level, so replacement is really your only option. But before you drop that kind of money, make absolutely sure you've tested every peripheral component that connects to it. I cannot stress this enough. A shorted door latch or drain pump will kill a new board instantly. Door latch assemblies run about $50 to $100, and they're moderately tricky to replace because you've got to work around that big rubber boot seal. But if you've confirmed it's shorted and it's been killing your control boards, you've got no choice but to replace it. Just make sure you disconnect power and discharge the system before you start working on it. The display or user interface board runs about $100 to $250, but here's the thing. Try that aluminum foil trick first. I've seen people spend hundreds on a new interface board when a 50-cent piece of foil would have fixed it. If the foil trick works, you've just saved yourself a bunch of money. If it doesn't work and the main board's getting power, then yeah, you're probably looking at replacing the interface. All right, if we're dealing with actual faulty components here, let's talk about what you're looking at cost-wise and what's worth fixing versus what means it's time to start shopping for a new washer. The good news is some of these fixes are practically free, but others can get pricey real quick. Now, before we wrap up, you can see right there on your screen some of the most common LG washer models that run into these power issues. The front loaders tend to have more control board problems, while the top load models, especially the touch panel ones, are more prone to that capacitive button issue I mentioned. You might spot your model up there. There you have it. 5 proven methods to revive your dead LG washer. Follow this exact order. First, try the 2-minute hard reset and outlet test. Second, check for the red LED on the control board. Third, attempt the aluminum foil fix on unresponsive buttons. Fourth, test your noise filter with a multimeter. Finally, check for door latch shorts. This systematic approach will save you both time and money. Critical reminder, if you end up replacing the control board, always test your door latch and drain pump first. A shorted component will destroy your new $200 board instantly. And don't forget about that aluminum foil trick for unresponsive buttons. It sounds crazy, but it works. If you guys know someone who's having appliance troubles, please send them the link to this video or a link to my channel where I have tons of other videos showing how to fix pretty common issues with appliances, sometimes for free or as little cost as possible. It sure beats having a repairman come out and spending several hundred for them to fix it when it could be something so simple. If this helped you get your LG washer working again, hit that like button and drop a comment below. Let me know which fix worked for you. Really helps other people with the same problem. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. We'll get this out to more folks who need to save some time and money. Thanks for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day.